Welcome to the discussion of Chapter 6 from the All Inclusive Approach, The Art of Divine Remembrance, entitled Encouragement. So, the beginning part of this chapter starts off very much the hook energy that so many transformational programs and content and manifestation programs and content start off with. This uh, version of reality that is 100% I got your back kind of vibe. And while I think that's true, I really do. I really think everything works together to produce your highest good now, like I said in a previous chapter from Barefoot Doctor in his song Trust. And that life is coordinated in a way to propel forward evolutionary arcs that we choose to experience in our lifetime, coupled with the free will that we have to navigate that process from whatever vantage point we are operating within. And also, it's dynamic and diverse and varied, and being sold this idea that is so appealing to the psyche. This idea that if you can figure out how to hack life in a way that you only perceive and allow in pleasing, preference oriented experiences, circumstances, situations, interactions, dynamics. When that is the goal and that is the pitch, there's something inside of me that just goes, no, no. We're here to have a multitude of experiences and experience the full spectrum of emotional bandwidth, which includes sadness and frustration as much as satisfaction and bliss. That's the foundation I want to bring into this discussion when we go through the workbook, is valuing all aspects of the human experience, personal experience, and then understanding where am I living in a fantasy, whether that fantasy is a nightmare, right? All the what ifs of what's the worst that could happen in this decision, in that situation, if I go to that party, if I talk to that person over there, if I take this new job, if I move to this town, if I keep doing the thing that I'm doing, this doomsday mentality that has become so prevalent in our perception of reality. And I'll say too, I really think that the reason it's become so prevalent is so we can transcend it. It's really in our faces how much we've allowed fear and the ideas of fear, not even actual fear producing experiences, but the narratives of fear and the potentials of fearful experiences dominate our life and the way that we operate in the world. It's very useful to be aware of that. It's also really useful to not allow it to control your life, because then that's just a new fear, the fear of being duped into fear. So there's a playfulness, a gentleness, an innocence that can be applied to this process of inclusivity. And then discerning choice. This is the sweet spot that I've found for myself, is being open to waves of devastation and committing to not needing them to have a personal story attached to them, letting those waves rise and fall, and then letting myself have a prayer or a blessing or an intention arise from those waves, whether it's elation. I get so excited about some ideas that I have. Then I reorient myself into reality and remind myself that my life will pass me by if I'm living and operating only within the fantasy ideas and imaginations of what can happen and not actually moving into action oriented behaviors. So that's the practice that I've adopted, is being embracing of what's true in the moment, and also letting myself have permission to be a co-creator with the moment by directing my focus and my attention and my intention in a way that aligns with my values, the things that are important to me, the things that I'm passionate about, and communicating those with myself or with the people in my life. Now that we've got that intro to this discussion, I've noticed about myself, I don't know how to do transitions so well, like especially starting and stopping these conversations with you. I'm like, hi, it's me again. And then with the buys, I feel like one of those people who it takes 5 minutes to get off the phone with you. Okay, see you later. You're the best. It was so good talking with you. I can't wait to connect with you again. Bye. Oh, and by the way, if I forgot to mention, I'm really glad that you considered this thing or that thing, or we got to touch on this topic or that topic. Bye. So, just making an acknowledgement of that. Also, I have a bit of a cold, so I keep having to stop this conversation that I'm having with you that is one-sided. Hopefully, you're adding to it on your end too, and that's why I ask you to put comments because I want it to be reciprocal. But I'm drinking like a lot of warm drinks to try and get everything soothed back into wellness. So, just in case you haven't been listening to the discussion right after the chapter, and there's like a time gap between those two things, I'm going to go through the reflection on the chapter just to touch again on what the content was in chapter 6. In the workbook, I wrote, "This chapter is a powerful reminder that you are already supported, guided, and deeply loved by Source." And already supported, guided, and deeply loved by Source is in bold because we're remembering so many of the things that we think we're seeking. We're actually remembering it. And the value of acknowledging that difference is akin to the difference between thinking that you have to like find breadcrumbs on a trail and follow all those breadcrumbs until you get to your desired, treasured destination versus looking through your closet, knowing that the shirt that you want to wear is in there. You're just moving piece by piece until it appears. Can you sense the difference between those two things? Like when we are in seeker mode, then it's hard to be present because you're constantly assessing. Is it over there? Is it over there? Is it over there? And if it doesn't make this a personal way for you to identify this in yourself, think about if you're single or when you were single. Every potential mate that you would meet, it was like, is it you? Are you my soulmate? What about you? And just that thinking, that distracted intention and longing and desire can make it so difficult to listen to what the person in front of you is actually saying and let the knowledge that's within you about if this person is in resonance and connection and harmony with a potential long-term partnership, it's so muddled and convoluted with this seeking energy. Is it you? What are you going to say? Who, just this kind of like frantic distraction energy. And it's outside of you. That's the big thing, right? It's outside of you. The knowledge is outside of you. The manifestation is outside of you. The resources are outside of you. It's all out there. So when we can think from the perspective that it's already within us, and that knowledge is just rising to the surface, it's just presenting itself like a present in the present. If you want to get into semantics, that is more of a revealing than a discovering, than a searching out. It's more of a flowering. And I'm using all these analogies to really anchor this concept in. It soothes the nervous system. It really does. I mean, it did for me, I guess I can say that is true. I'm not here to tell you how to live or what perspective to operate from. And also, I feel that the information that I'm sharing with you, if it resonates with you, it's because it's something that's already within you. That's why it's resonating. And there's a lot of comfort in that. We can feel less alone in our experience when we connect with others who can articulate similar tones and operating systems that we navigate the world with. There's so much comfort, and it's valuable to be feeling camaraderie in these days because collaboration, co-creation, and cooperation are really going to become such valuable assets. I think that they always have been, but they will be valued now as assets in a way I don't think that they have been for a very long time. Wow, that was just the first sentence of the reflection. Let us continue. The journey of self-realization is not about striving to become something different, but rather embracing the magnificence that already exists within you. Trusting in your own evolution and allowing yourself to grow at your own pace is key. Often we resist our growth because we feel like we should be farther along, or because we compare ourselves to an imagined version of success. However, this chapter invites us to recognize that every step, no matter how small, matters. And each moment of self-inquiry, reflection, and conscious awareness is evidence that you are on your own path, evolving exactly as you are meant to. The journal prompts for you to reflect on and dive into for this chapter are: how does it feel to consider that you are already enough exactly as you are? A great way of approaching this question is to just let that question percolate in your mind and notice what topics or areas of life give rebuttal to that, to the idea that you're already enough. So for example, let's say you're like, if that was true, I'd have more money in the bank. Or if that was the case, I wouldn't still be longing for my beloved partnership that I feel is aligned with my trajectory in this lifetime. Any one of those things, a job, the way that you feel health-wise, how much time you devote to meditation, whatever it might be. When the mind starts giving examples of why that's not true, that's a really good time to start journaling. And let yourself know the topics where that feels incongruent. The idea that you're already enough isn't something that the mind wants to easily accept around this topic or this subject or that theme. And then the second question, which is a two-parter, is, when was the last time you felt genuinely supported? And it can be supported by you or supported by another or supported by life in some way. Maybe an awesome set of synchronicities happened and it gave you a sense of validation that you were on the right path, that you felt aligned. And then this follow-up question for number 2 is, how can you cultivate that feeling more often? This is something great to do with this question. If you were to bring this question into the morning or the evening before you go to bed and kind of set the trajectory of your day and of your rest, cultivating that feeling, the last time you felt genuinely supported, the last time you had a synchronicity that felt really aligned, like really letting yourself feel what that feels like. Remember the times that it's worked out like that in your life and give space to that in place of the worrying, the concern, the questioning, the uncertainty, the overwhelm, the fatigue, the frustration, the lack of fulfillment, the dissatisfaction, all of the disappointment, whatever it might be that is being a companion to you on your way into the day, on your way into the rest. This kind of change, a change in perspective, it is a heart-mind cohesive practice. And it requires, in the beginning, effort and practice. That's why it's called a practice. You have to practice it. It doesn't matter if you fall off and you forget for a week, and then you get every present moment that you engage in this act of intentionality from a soft, gentle, open, willing place is thumbs up, 2 thumbs up, nailing it. You know, like you really can be appreciative of yourself whenever you do it. It doesn't have to become dogmatic or ritualized. It can just be, oh yeah, oh that's right, I remember. I want to set the tone of this day. I don't want to just get up and begin the succession of activities that I've been trained myself to do. I'm going to cause a pause and give space to some tone of intentionality that feels empowering to me, nourishing to me, soothing to my nervous system. And then when you remember, you do it again. And then when you remember, you do it again. This is the way that my life became a living meditation. I fall into forgetfulness. I'm not even sure if it's possible not to, but that may be just because I find them both so beautiful. I don't know if I would want to give up forgetfulness, because then when I remember, it's just like, oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's right. And it feels good, you know? It feels good to remember. And I can see also, and I talk about this in a later chapter in the book, the sense of value that others feel when they help you remember. And maybe you can identify that too, those moments where you help people remember their true nature. How good that feels. I mean, it really does. It's like, yeah. And then not because of a manipulation or a coercion or anything like that. It's just a presence. It's maybe a small reflection that opens the door again within them, and they go, oh my gosh, I remember everything that's in this room. I don't even care how long that door was closed, because now it's open again. That feels so wonderful. And when we can keep the door open more, sometimes the wind blows it shut. Sometimes we close it because we go, ugh. Forgetting is so fun sometimes. Maybe I'm going to go forget for a little bit. And then someone will come take me by the hand, lead me back to that door. We'll open it and I'll remember. Journal prompt number 3. Okay. Journal prompt number 3 is reflect on a past challenge that in hindsight helped you grow. In hindsight helped you grow. How does that experience shape the way you see current difficulties? So this question has the tone of resilience in it to me. As we navigate life, the more we survive the things that we think are going to annihilate us, we wake up to another day, the more that can beat us down. It's totally can go two ways, or it can cultivate a sense of resilience. And again, it's really based on the perpetual perception that we entertain and have running in the background. When your current difficulties are evidence that things never work out for you and that life is just really hard and it's not fair and it's all fucked up, and it'd probably be better if just all of humanity was wiped from the face of the earth. Can we do that right now, please? That is certainly a perspective that anyone can choose to operate within. However, if you look at those same difficulties and say, wow, this feels really similar to this other thing that I had to face that I thought it was going to be an insurmountable odd, and yet I came out the other side still alive with more information, more wisdom, more tools, more ways of navigating reality, more understanding of how I operate under states of stress, more clarity on the things that I want more of in my life and what I would prefer to have less of. Then difficulties are more information to digest and make choices around. And we can vacillate back and forth between those two perspectives. It's not like one person goes one way and the other person goes another way, and that's how they operate. Sometimes we can be very grounded and feel a sense of resilience in one area of our life, and in another area of our life, it's completely the opposite. We feel broken. Again, like so many of these things, like once you're really letting the heart inform the perception of the mind through synergy and collaboration, then choosing orientation points, vantage points, and meaning around the experiences that we have, difficulties and successes, can really become your choice, your decision, and your point of power. Not to direct life to bend to your will, but to allow your will to serve your evolution. Journal prompt number 4. In what ways do you deny your own brilliance, your own divinity, your own magnificence? What self-limiting beliefs arise when you think about your greatness? And this is really a companion question to question number 2. Because this inquisitive way of observing yourself, not as a teacher or a critic, but more like an anthropologist that's observing a tribe. Watching the rhythms and the rituals and the patterns and the habits from that inquisitive mind, that curious perception. I just think drops of wisdom come falling down so easily when that's the approach that's being taken. That's been my experience. The exercise for chapter 6 is called the blessing practice. This exercise helps you shift from self-criticism to self-empowerment, while also spreading love and encouragement to others. So step number 1, identify a self-limiting belief or judgment you've been holding about yourself. I'm not good enough. I can't do that right now. I should be farther along than I am. I'm never going to be successful at this. Things don't work out for me. I'm not lucky. Or less general things, more very personal things. And I'm sure you know what those are. Acknowledge and accept it exists without resistance. You don't have to do anything with it. All we're doing is saying, yes, you exist. We're not even giving permission or acceptance at this point. We're just accepting that it exists without resistance. Breathe deeply. Allow the thought to exist without judgment. Allow the belief to exist without judgment. Breathe with it. This is a practice that is very nourishing for the nervous system. And I will keep referencing the nervous system because it does determine a lot of our perception, how our nervous system is reacting to input. So when you are consciously sitting with input that might have been previously challenging to your nervous system, and you're focusing on deep breathing and you're doing it in a safe space that is not prone to interruption, and you're putting yourself into a nice, lovely, accommodating container, maybe you're sitting somewhere comfortably, maybe there's just the right amount of light coming in. All the things where you have some point of power to control the circumstances that you're doing this practice within, so that your nervous system can unravel some of the heightened responses that have become really normal because they've been repeated. Once you get into that kind of vibe, step 3 is redirect the energy by sending a blessing outward. Say aloud or in your mind, I bless all beings with self-worth, if self-worth was the self-limiting belief or judgment that we're identifying in this moment. May all people know unconditional love and acceptance. I bless the world with peace, joy, and clarity. Step 4 is notice how it shifts your energy as you send blessings. Feel the same energy returning to you. So it's great once you really get the flow happening. Some of us very empathetic, loving, caring, compassionate people feel the opening happen sometimes easier when we're flowing it outwardly. So you can share those prayers with all of humanity. And then once that energy starts to really percolate and expand within you, you can reclaim and recall the blessing for yourself as well. So it's got that really and both energy to it. You are part of the collective transformation you're blessing. So why not include yourself in that blessing? Step 5 is repeat the practice anytime you feel doubt or discouragement. Use it as a tool to reconnect with your divine nature. And this doesn't have to take too long. I mean, it can be just a few minutes during a break at your desk or in between meals. That can be your prayer before you eat. It can be something that you say when you're getting ready to meditate. End it with, I bless the world with peace, joy, and clarity. And I extend that blessing to myself with love and compassion. Or any such version that resonates with you and feels authentic to your self-expression. The quote for contemplation is, you were born to be you. There is nothing to fix, only an eternal invitation to align with the source within and all around. These are the contemplations and practices for Chapter 6. Leave a comment, share the epiphanies, the understandings, the points of interest that you had while listening to this content. Until we connect again, be well and enjoy the now.